morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to bring back an old series which we never finished, but a lot of people keep asking me to. Maybe we need to. It is the complete history of the Pokemon trading card game. We're going to be carrying on today with Sun and Moon, the base set. That is where we left off last time. And you know the deal. Watch it. Share it with your friends. If these videos gain enough traction, I will keep going. I will finish the series. What I will tell you is, this is going up on Sunday. 4 Sundays in a row, because I'm running around a lot. 4 Sundays in a row, we are going to have a complete history video, starting today with Sun and Moon. And Sun and Moon is a very big deal, because it is the first of the Sun and Moon expansions. Came around in Japan on December the 9th, 2016. And did come around as a double set over in Japan, as so many things to do. Collection Sun and Collection Moon. But then it came around in English on February the 3rd, 2017, where it was, of course, just one set, Sun and Moon. And it was a very big deal. It was a set that gave us Gen 7 in the TCG. It brought in GXs, and GXs came in with GX attacks. Every GX had them, and they were designed to be very good, but it was one GX attack per game. You would have a GX marker. When you used any GX attack, it would be flipped over, and you were then banned from using GX attacks for the remainder of the game. You had to choose which one you were going to use and when you were going to use it very carefully indeed. It's also worth noting that as a general rule, the EXs came along with full arts and rainbow rares. The exception here was actually your first partner Pokemon, because we had Sun and Moon starter sets featuring your first partner Pokemon, Incineroar, Decidueye, and Primarina. But because they came around in decks in Japan, they didn't have full arts or rainbow rare versions. They would get them eventually, but they didn't have them here. Also worth noting that elsewhere in terms of secret rares, there were a few secret rare supporters. We had ourselves Alima, Lily, and Professor Kukui. We then had some gold items, Nest Ball, Rotom Dex, Switch, and Ultra Ball. And then 2 gold energy, Psychic, and Metal, but over the next few sets, they would obviously give us all of them. It is worth noting we also went to 12 cards per pack here, because a basic energy was introduced into every pack. Cool. Now, in terms of EXs here, let's just have a quick run through, because some of these were relevant and some of these were less so. Decidueye GX, we're going to talk about more in a minute. It was amazing. Lurantis, we're going to talk more about in a minute. It was amazing. Incineroar, I personally loved. Single energy, 10 damage plus 20 more for each of your bench fire Pokemon. I tried. It was never actually very good. Lapras did get a load of buzz, but unfortunately ended up not being great. But single energy draw 3 on a basic was nice, and auto paralysis was fun. Primarina did do 20 more damage for each water energy attached to all of your Pokemon. Seemed like it had potential. Did not work out. Espeon was a very good card. We'll talk more about that one in a moment. Umbreon was kind of viable. We'll get onto that in a bit. Solgaleo was just about good enough. Tauros was great. We'll get onto that one in a minute. Gumshoes was actually sneaky good. We'll get onto that one in a minute. Some of these we're going to talk about more in a moment when we get to the best cards in the set. And you'll notice that that is a lot of them. Oh, I never mentioned Lunala, did I? How rude of me! Lunala did let you move all your psychic energy around, had potential, unfortunately never ended up being particularly good. For that, I can only apologise. But most of the GXs were at least moderately kind of fun. Now, in terms of theme decks, we actually had 3 theme decks in this set. 1 matching each of the first partner Pokemon. So Forest Shadow was your Decidueye starter deck. Came with a holo rare of Decidueye and non-holo rares of Decidueye, Shinotic, Parasect, and Kangaskhan. really started filling out the rares here nicely. Worth noting that Shinotic and Kangaskhan were exclusive, the non-holos, and like all starter decks, there was a cracked ice holo of Decidueye, which was exclusive. Roaring Heat was your Incineroar starter deck, gave us holo rares and non-holo rare of Incineroar. Don't forget the cracked ice would obviously be exclusive. And then non-holo rares of Palisand, Oranguru, and Beware. Non-holo Oranguru was exclusive to the deck. And then Bright Tide was your Primarina starter deck, and that would give you holo and non-holo rares of Primarina, plus non-holo rares of Golduck, Cloyster, and Lantern. No exclusive non-holos here, unfortunately, but the Cracked Ice Primarina was exclusive. Cool. Nice little trio of starter decks. Now, in terms of pre-release promos, there were 4 of them. We had Oranguru, great card, by far the best. Persimmon, which was kind of interesting, good little pre-release promo. Shinotic, which was very meh, and Bruxis, which you did not want to pull. There were 2 good pre-release promos here, and 2 of them which, frankly, weren't that great. So having a look at the best cards in the set then, there were a couple that really stood out, one of which was Oranguru. This card was cracked. Oranguru let you draw until you had 3 cards in your hand. That was it. Single prize, sat there on the bench, draw till you had 3 cards in your hand. The attack, doing 60 plus 20 for each energy attached to your opponent's active, would occasionally see play, but make no mistake about it, Oranguru's ability was redonk here. The other real top tier crazy good standout in the set was Decidueye. Decidueye had the ability Feather Arrow. Once during your turn, you may put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. Fun fact, I don't know why, but this card ended up getting shown off on Japanese Twitter. I managed to get a video up about this before anybody else in the West had seen it. So this was fun. It's almost impossible to do that, but I managed it for Decidueye. Although the image we initially got was kind of blurry, it was hard to see if it was 2 or 3 damage counters. The reason this was so good was because at the time we had Forest of Giant Plants, which lets you evolve up instantly, but you had to be grass Pokemon, which this totally was. So Forest of Giant Plants allowing you to evolve straight up into this with no issues. Oh, you better believe that made Decidueye awesome. Now, Lurantis was another very nice card here. Lurantis was one that, when you attacked, single energy, 40 damage, attached to basic energy from your discard pile to your Pokemon in any way you like, or single energy, 50 for each grass energy attached to this Pokemon. It was fun, and we had Forest of Giant Plants. It wasn't amazing, but it was quite cool. Vikavolt was another very good card. It was a stage 2, but once during your turn, you could search your deck for a grass and a lightning energy and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you liked. This was a card that saw a bunch of play. Alolan Muck had an ability that said each basic Pokemon had no abilities. Really good for control and a whole bunch of decks. We saw a lot of it. Espeon was a decent attacker. Free energy, 60 plus 30 for each energy attached to your opponent's active, it was fine. But really, it was Divide GX. You put 10 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like. That was a very nice attack, and this saw a lot of play for this exact reason. Now, Persimmon was really fun. For a 2 colorless energy, which we could do in 1 attachment, 10 damage plus 30 more for each of your bench Persimmon. So 100 for 2 energy. It was a deck a lot of people played. It was a fun one. It was never really super duper top tier, but it was one that a lot of people played with. Umbreon EX, it had a decent little hit and run attack, but the best thing about it here was Dark Cool GX. Discard 2 energy from your opponent's Pokemon. Oh, yeah. That was actually a very good card for control decks and saw a bunch of play. Strafe was fun. Dark Cool GX was the best thing about this. Now, I said Solgaleo EX was kind of good, and it was. Once during a turn, you could switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench. Free energy, it did 230. And for a single energy, you got to search your deck for up to 5 energy and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. And it said energy, not basic energy. It was a fun card. It saw a bit of play. It was not game-breaking or any of that, but it was a very fun card. Now, Tauros saw a lot of play as a tech here. For 2 energy, you did 20 damage plus 10 more for each damage counter on this Pokemon. Notice again, 2 colorless energy. That was good. 1 attachment. But it also had Horn Attack, 2 energy 60. Basic Pokemon, 1 attachment. Lot of 60 HP basics around at the time. Horn Attack was actually sneaky good for getting cheeky KOs on your first turn. This was very nice. But then Mad Ball GX did 30 damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. So it was a ridiculous outrage attack. So not only did you have this Pokemon, taking cheeky KOs and poking away, but you kind of had to one-hit KO it, and that made it awesome. Shout out to the Herdia, by the way. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, put an item card from your discard pile into your hand. It was fun. But Eevee was actually sneaky amazing, because Energy Evolution said that whenever you attached a basic energy to it, you could search your deck and evolve it into a Pokemon that evolved from Eevee of the typing of the energy you put on it, Umbreon, Espeon, etc. Actually made a lot of these evolutions way, way better. Now, in terms of trainer cards, there are a couple that stand out. Lily was great. Draw until you have 6 cards in your hand, but if it's your first turn, draw until you have 8. Really good in the early game. Nestball made its first appearance in Sun and Moon. Search your deck for a basic Pokemon and bench it. Phenomenal card. Kukui let you draw 2 cards and do an extra 20 damage. Either of which was a bit meh on its own. Both of them in 1 card was really fun. Rotom decks let you count your prize cards, shuffle them into your deck, and put that many new ones out. It was an item card that let you liberate stuff from the prizes. People loved it. And then Team Skull Grunt just let you discard 2 energy cards from your opponent's hand. This was great for control decks. Some people would love it. And I keep referring to 2 energy, obviously double colorless, was printed in this set. Not for the first time, but still a card that made a lot of these other cards work. Now, in terms of the best decks, there was really one deck that came out of Sun and Moon that made this set so good. It was Decidueye Vileplume. John Kettler got second at North American Internationals with this deck. And it was really quite simple. There's only 3 major cards in the deck. It was Decidueye, I've already mentioned. It was Vileplume that turned off items. And then that Forest of Giant Plants I said about. So basically, you built the fastest deck you could. You got Vileplume up and rolling because that would stop your opponent playing any item cards. I mean, it would stop you as well, but you built your deck, so if you were playing items, it was just to get Vileplume and Decidueye in play, and then you locked it down. And then you sat there, and your opponent was blocked from playing items, but you also had Decidueye, and the great thing about Decidueye was you didn't have to hit the active. You put 2 damage counts on one of your opponent's Pokemon. So you're slowing them down with their evolution, and they're setting up with Vileplume. You're picking off the small Pokemon before they can evolve on the bench using Decidueye, and this added up to a great deck. Really good deck. Second place at North American Internationals, and that was not the only big finish it had, but it was probably the most high profile. It was a great deck. Now, slightly early here, but I don't know where to put it. Vikavolt Bulu. Now, Bulu actually came out in a tin. It didn't come out in Sun and Moon. It kind of came out between sets. So, look, figure that one out yourself, all right? But Vikavolt, I told you it was good. It was best with Tapu Bulu GX. Because Tapu Bulu was really good basic, kind of energy hungry. Jesper Eriksson actually had a decent run with Tapu Bulu with Lurantis, but it was really Vikavolt which made it work. Free energy, Nature's Judgment, 120 damage, but if you discarded all energy from it, you did an extra 60. Oh. Well, yeah. Attachment for turn, 2 energy from Vikavolt, one of them's lightning, it doesn't matter because there's a colorless in the attack cost. There we go. And now Tapu Bulu's going every turn, hitting 180. You put a Fighting Fury belt on here to get extra HP. You had Tapu Wilderness, which did 150 and healed all your damage. Particularly good because you're using Fighting Fury Belt to do extra damage, but also to give yourself an extra 40 HP. And this worked. This was a very good deck. Got 11th place at NAIC. It was a real player in the game for a while. Not on the same level as Decidueye Vileplume, and I'm not pretending it is, but it was a pretty good deck. Sun and Moon was a very impactful set. First Sun and Moon set, first GXs. They really switched a lot of stuff around here. Set the table for Sun and Moon as a whole, and there were a lot of very good cards. It was a great set. But I've told you all about it now, so now it's over to you guys. Tell me your memories of this set. If you weren't playing when this was around, tell me what you think now I've told you all about it here. Go nuts in the comment section, but be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.